In this video, we're going to look at the structural levels on 4 cryptos, namely Bitcoin, XRP, ADA, and Solana. I'm also going to show you how you can read the charts. This is going to give you a huge edge inside of financial markets, especially crypto. Or not that edge. The crypto market is a pretty naughty market. When everybody expects things to go one way, we find that it frequently goes the other, at least from a short-term perspective. In the past 24 hours, there's been about $92.69 million worth of liquidations, and the vast majority of those were, unfortunately, short liquidations. Unfortunate for the shorts, but really good for the longs. We've seen price come up over the past 24 hours, and this is on the back of really hot PPI and CPI news. This is something that you have to bear in mind. As soon as the longs get too concentrated, the shorts will wipe them out, and vice versa. As we know, our key issue is to look at Bitcoin. When we look at Bitcoin, we're understanding where the structure is. We can see that Bitcoin rallied, has basically been consolidating, had a bit of weakness off the PPI numbers, and that's to be expected. Across the weekend, it just basically consolidated. Now, the real question is there good structure below, or is there structural resistance above and that's pushing price down, or structure below and it's going to push price up? That is the current question. So let's find out. Let's pop on the CTKS method markup of Bitcoin. This differs from normal or conventional TA because it marks up all of price history. What we can see over the 5,200 plus days, we've got structural resistance or structural support around just a little bit below this 51,000 mark. So even though Bitcoin sold off, it found really strong structure and it bounced. Now, we've entered a positive fresh air gap. This is a really interesting thing because if the bullish momentum can be kept up, we would expect to come up to this 53,500 level before really encountering any strong resistance. That's the bullish case. The bearish case is that we come back, retest, get weaker, just retest it on the back and make our way down below the 50 mark. Please let me know in the comments, which way do you think Bitcoin will be headed over the next 24 hours? Answering that question becomes much easier when you understand how to use the alts to understand Bitcoin's momentum. We've seen Bitcoin doing this kind of action, going up, coming back, retesting structural support, and then bouncing. What did the other cryptos do? We can see Ethereum has been outperforming Bitcoin. Bitcoin over this particular period is up 4.77% versus Ethereum, and it's 7.96% up for ETH. So ETH has been doing really, really well. About 7.82% up for BNB. It's been outperforming. But we notice Solana, which is very sensitive to any movements in Bitcoin's price levels. It was crushed down, and now look at this excellent rebound. It's probably one of the best rebounds that we've seen in the top cryptos from a rebound sense, but the standout performer is, of course, ADA, and it's up 13.6% versus Bitcoin being up 4.68%. We can also see that AVAX, just like Solana, sold down, and AVAX, instead of bumping up like Solana has done so, it's got a little bit of a weaker momentum, as has Doge price action. So just keep in mind the structural levels on these, because that's what's important to look at. We can see a very similar thing inside XRP. Well, let's look at the structure on XRP. When we look at XRP structure, we can see XRP came into all this structural resistance from 5,600 up to around that 5,630 mark. And of course, this is where the sellers are. This is where price would be expected to be pushed down. So getting this reaction is not uncommon and not unanticipated as well. What we know from SLs, or Stanfield levels, these particular bounded areas are called SC, or Stanfield zones. They're a collection of SLs. SLs have various strengths and various thicknesses which indicate the strength. What we saw is XRP selling down to an SL range, which is contained within this SC, and then bouncing up to the SLs above it, consolidating, but not going significantly below. That put this upper level in reach. The bullish case for XRP is to get above this 5640 mark, come back, retest, and resume up to 5740. If the bears gain control, they'll be seeking to push it down to the 5500 and get it to retest on the other side of that before pushing it lower. The CTKS method is the world's most powerful technical analysis methodology, and here we're looking at ADA over in excess of 2100 days. What explains this big move up in ADA and the retracement? You would suggest that there was a lot of structural support and a bit of a fresh air gap and structural resistance above, but we need to turn on the indicator or mark up the chart with the CTKS method to find out. Let's have a look at what the indicator shows us. Literally, just as anticipated, there was a lot of structural support, and remember, Bitcoin was coming into its own structural support at this time, and then it bounced. And when Bitcoin bounced, it had the momentum to bounce ADA above this structural resistance level and turn it into structural support by this retest. Not much of a retest, but it certainly was there. And then we had a fresh air gap up to this structural resistance, just a little bit below 64.50. So we can explain why ADA jumped up as it did. Without the CTKS method, this would just be a mystery. As we see time and time again, price is always moving from SL to SL. If it can get above, it's seeking to go up to the next one. If it falls below, it's seeking to come below to the next one below. Especially if you have a layered structure of SLs. That's what you're looking for below price. In terms of any sell-offs inside the market, you need to know where your safety nets are. The safety nets give you so much insight into where price can go, and these are perfect dollar cost averaging entries. You don't want to be phased out of the market when price is coming down. You simply need to know where the SLs are. If it's getting weaker, you can see this backside retest pushing it down to the structures below. You only need to know where the structure is. Let's have a quick look at what is cooking inside Solana's price action. We know as Bitcoin came down, Solana came down, and then it staged a rebound. Solana gains its strength from Bitcoin movements. But as always, we need to know where the structural support and structural resistance levels are, and Solana has been trading in excess of 1200 days. We've seen Solana just break through this 111 approximate mark. It's now just in a fresh air gap and could make its way very quickly up to 116.50. If the bulls gain control, they'll be seeking to take it up to at least 117, if not 119. If the bears gain control, they'll seek to initially push it down to around this 111 mark and then 107 and below. Often you'll get into a scenario where you'll simply say, I wish I knew where the support and resistance lines were. When you look for support and resistance lines, it's important to mark up all of price history. If you don't do that, you're just guessing. Thank you for sharing this time together, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. Bye for now.